2A meeting.
I think that's pretty close.
Yeah.
We ready?
Yep.
Okay. Call this meeting in order. Let's have a pledge of allegiance. You want to lead us, Mark?
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, you're good.
Let it show that everybody is present and we do have a quorum. Those that would like to join me in prayer, please do. Lord, we look for you for guidance, to help us move Shoshoni forward. With all the turbulence we got going, not only around the world and the United States, and even in the state of Wyoming, I pray for you, give everybody guidance so that we can live a good life and make the right decisions that are best for our people. This I ask you, Lord, in your name. Amen. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
second.
Been moved by Councilman Whitener, second by Councilman Nordine to approve the agenda. Discussion.
We weren't dealing with the 3/4 cent sales tax deal that everybody else is.
I don't believe we received any notification, the last I knew, from the clerk treasurer about that. I know we had questions for them when the last time they were here. We had no correspondence, to my knowledge.
Okie dokie.
Whether they just forgot us or maybe they just forgot us. I have no idea. I know Du Bois is tomorrow.
I can't pass on our ballot if we don't have the approval for it, right?
Well, for this to get on the ballot, they need 3 municipalities to join with the county. That would give them a majority
Oh,
and it could be on the ballot.
no sense bothering with those questioning
But-
and
But I know it is highly unlikely that Pavilion will support it. It's highly unlikely that Du Bois will support it. They don't seem to address this part of the county from Wysite Lost Cabin to Du Bois in our area. I mean, because we have questions on service and are they going to improve it? I believe is what there was questions brought up from the council. And some of the same questions we have here, they have in Pavilion. And Du Bois is even, they're more remote than Outspring. But that's what little I know.
The airport's not my concern. It's the ambulance and the public transportation that's not provided. They would almost do them individually. They would pass.
I don't know.
I don't know if they would all pass, but the
I don't think
one,
it'll pass.
the one
anyways.
that needs to pass in the airport would probably pass if they broke the airport off of the other two.
It's, yeah, I know that's interesting. See, I feel the ambulance would pass if it was approached right in the airport. The ambulance could help carry I think why they had put them together to help they thought the ambulance would possibly help carry the airport and ground
If
transportation
they-
across the finish line.
They do get it on the ballot, and if it does pass and we don't join the agreement, then we get to keep the funds for Shoshoni and spend them.
Correct.
Be fine with me.
Well, at least for the ambulance and ground transportation. I
And the
think
airport, we'd have to do some figuring on it.
yeah, because the airport, I think, says commercial ground air, but we
Commercial air
do
service.
have at times crop dusters use our airport.
Or if somebody hired a pilot to fly in for the fish poison or something, so we had to maintain our airport for that.
Bigger concern I have is I've expressed to the mayor as well as I've expressed to the committee through FCAG and various others that will listen, is the status quo with the distribution of ambulance money is just it's not working as it is now. And you want the taxpayers to pay money for something that doesn't work with no change, no plan, no discussion on how that's going to look. I have concerns that it's gonna even pass.
I don't think it
So-
will pass.
I want it to pass. I think it needs to, as I said last time, but in absence of a plan, how can you ask people to spend money for something they don't agree with without a plan? I think that's a failure of leadership of all levels of elected officials in this county. And that's how I believe it.
My plan in my head, if it passes to, anything we get for ambulance, put into our ambulance and anything for transportation, put into transportation. That's simple. That'd help.
That was actually part of my roundtable discussion.
Oh.
All right, I did. Chris came to me and I've been trying to work with Chris and should we discuss that later?
Yeah,
Chris?
maybe
Or
we're
do
still on
you wanna-
agenda. I
I don't know, you're the chairman of the board. I don't know, should we stick to the forum or just wing it?
Yeah, I don't know if it's just that I was answering a question and I maybe.
I just want to
said
make sure we weren't neglecting something on. the-
But on the roundtable, I was gonna actually address this. And I believe Chris has quite a bit to say on this. It could be several minutes,
Might get things thrown at me tonight, so.
but in any event, we need to bring things up about that. And Chris is pretty versed on that and anyway. Okay, let's move on. The agenda. Been moved and second. Any more further discussion? None being all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed the same motion passed all in the affirmative. Any communications from citizens here presently or online?
Nothing online.
None being, we'll move on.
Oh.
Whoops, whoa. Mr. Myers, please come forward and identify yourself and address the governing body, please. Former Mayor of Du Bois.
John Meyer. I just want to say that I'm looking forward to your roundtable discussion because I have a few things I'd like to share as well and get some questions answered and maybe have a few questions myself.
I appreciate you coming to our meeting. I miss when you're not here.
Jake, that it was gonna be on the agenda. I thought it was, but that's all right. We can still talk. And so I'm looking forward to that.
You bet, thank you.
That's all.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And,
Well, please.
Hello.
Yeah.
It's me again, Jeannie Karanki with the Shoshoni Chamber, and we just got our newsletter out yesterday. It seems to hit everybody's mail, so we're getting a really good response so far. Yeah, and it's doing good, and I want to remind everybody about March 26th, the Citizen of the Year dinner. I'm expecting right now, we've had a lot of calls down at the center about people excited to come. Right now, I'm preparing to cook for between 50 and 60, so I think we'll have a good turnout, but.
This is the first time we really put together a meal.
Mhm.
We've had snacks. in the past, and yeah, this is really good.
Wayne Olson is gonna be cooking. If anybody's familiar with Wayne's cooking, he makes a killer chicken fried steak. He's the one who cooks them down at the center for us monthly, so he agreed to cook that night, and I have a lot of volunteers. I have about 7, 8 volunteers willing to help out with dishes and whatever needs helped with, so, yeah. If anybody has any questions, just come find me or ask, or I think it's gonna be really good, though.
Appreciate the senior center, taking this event on for us
Yeah.
and helping us.
Yeah, they're wonderful, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more communication from the audience? Sure, Jay? We have another mayor, ex-mayor in the audience. Yeah. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Very good. Consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Should we do A and B?
Yeah, I move that we approve the minutes from February 24th, 2026 with the following correction. Item 16 D2 on the Inc. 15 Economic Committee recommendations. I think it's notable that Councilman Whitener abstained from that.
Yes, that needs to be.
And it needs to be added in there that Councilman Whitener abstained from that. So I moved to approve them as presented with that one correction.
You may also let the record know that I wasn't even in here when they voted.
Right, that you had left
You'd
the
left.
room during the vote and all that, yes. Yeah. I guess good correction on that, yeah.
Correction of the correction.
Yeah.
Thanks
That's what I
for
meant.
catching it.
That's exactly what I meant. Well, it didn't look super good and I believe we did everything right, so.
Yep. We'll make that change.
Good. We got a motion to amend the minutes as stated by Councilman Stetler. That was a motion, right? Do I have a second on
To
it?
approve them with that amendment or?
Yeah,
can do it
kind
that
of, we have to approve the amendment first. Can we approve the amendment?
I'll approve the amendment.
And a second by Councilman Hartke. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor say aye to approve the amendment. Aye. Passed on the affirmative. Have a motion to approve the minutes February 24th, 2026 as amended.
I move that we approve the minutes as amended.
I'll second it.
Been moved by Councilman Nordine, second by Councilman Hartke. Any discussion? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain, I wasn't here. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. Approval of the bills, February 25th, 2026 to March 10th, 2026.
Move we approve the bills of February 25th, 2026 through March 10th, 2026.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Statler, second by Councilman Nordine to approve the bills February 25th, 2026 through March 10th, 2026. Any discussion?
Sure.
So I would suggest maybe a motion to amend to strike out
24, 320.
the check number 24,320 and vote on that separately.
I make a motion to amend the bills. And to move check number 24,320 out on its own.
Can move that we move check number 24,320 to Whitener Enterprises heat press for the amount of $7,000. You have a second on that?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman Hartke. Any discussion?
I don't know why we're pulling it out separately.
Well, since it's going to Councilman Whitener, I don't know, maybe the attorney could weigh in. I think we talked about that. For the nature of it being economic tad money, that it would he could abstain from the whole vote, I guess, but that way he could abstain from just the one and still be able to vote on the rest of the bill list, I guess.
Oh, okay. I
Would be
guess
the-
I
would
was
be the
like, we
ration-
approved-
That would be the rationale.
It was approved. It was
Yeah.
already approved.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could that, I wasn't here, I hadn't. First I know.
It was the economic development recommendation on the Inc. 15.
Yeah, I didn't see any recommendations from the Economic Development Committee on this.
That
Or
We did it last time.
I didn't see it in any of the paperwork. So just bring me up to speed what we're doing.
do we want to discuss that when we're discussing that check or do that now?
Aren't we in discussion? No. Okay, we can
Of
wait.
moving
On an
that check
amendment.
out
Oh,
of the
okay.
bills.
Okay,
was-
well, maybe okay.
But what the motion was
To
to
move it.
remove that check from the bill list.
We had a second too, right? Yeah. Tammy.
So all in favor, say aye.
I'll abstain.
Aye. Opposed? Note that Councilman Whitener abstained from the vote. So that check is out. Can I have a motion? So that has been meant. So any further discussion on the rest of the bills? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the same. Then I have a motion to approve that check for $3,000
Seven.
or $7,000 to Whitener Enterprises. A motion to approve.
Move we approve that.
I'll
Been
second.
moved by Councilman Stetler, second by Councilman Nordine. Discussion. So
It was a deal, kind of, the minutes are pretty vague. But presentation from the economic development, which I did mention. You would prefer if we'd hold on to some of this stuff till you were able to attend. I did mention that.
okay,
But it was Chris can give the specifics. It was a grant loan. Partial, 50% payback? No,
Yeah, that's what I think was.
I don't remember the exact
Yes.
terms. And it's for the stuff to make the t-shirts and stuff. For the hot summer nights and the 3-on-3 and all that, because the other vendor had retired and shut down and. It was if I remember right, it was 50% payback on the 7,000 with if they hire someone. There would be another
100% payback.
There would be another 3,000 that was 100% payback.
okay.
I don't have the papers in front of me. I can't get into the email either.
So it's 50% loan, 50% payback.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then if he hires a position, then,
if he does it commercially other than just,
yeah, then it'd be 100%.
okay. Now, I think that's very good. I just didn't know nothing about it. I just
Right.
trying to be informed.
Understood.
Well, we had a Economic Development Committee meeting. Was it Friday, John? Or Saturday? It was before the agenda. I think it was Friday. Yeah, it was Friday. And then we presented that at the council meeting. Last council meeting. And that was part of it. So that's why it wasn't. I guess in the packet per se.
I just didn't see it in the packet.
Yeah. It was presented at the meeting itself, I guess, but. Should be.
The other 3,000 that was approved was if I were to hire an employee.
For the software support and whatever else.
But that was to be paid back at 100% on the other 3.
Okay, so the 7,000, 50% of that will be paid back.
Regardless,
Regardless.
Okay, but 50% is a grant,
yes,
okay? And there was another 3,000.
Proof, but not.
And this is TAD money.
economic development.
Economical development.
Okay,
Yeah, we can use. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to get clarification from Wind River Visitors Council because technically
It brings.
shirts, that could be
The
used.
shirts,
You could
maybe.
say, yeah, you could make a case that is advertising.
but not the wages.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, not the
Not the
wages.
wages.
That's to
Okay,
keep the merchandise and
That's-
paraphernalia and stuff coming in for the hot summer nights, 3-on-3 and things like that.
That's
the
the question,
purpose of it.
that's questions I had.
And the reason it came up in that is, I guess, I assume that you'd watch the video, you usually do, so, so there was a couple different things on the economic committee meeting that we had. This one came up as that the local vendor that previously, made shirts for the whole county for various things. I think maybe for your stuff you've used, I'm not sure if you used them before, who you used to make your shirts for like your event. The Crossroads.
Yeah, I used someone local
And so the
in
one,
Shoshone.
oh, in Shoshone. Yeah, okay. So the one in Riverton that did it went out of business. Councilman Whitener purchased all his equipment about 1.5 years ago. I believe it was like 40-something thousand total of equipment and everything else. Two of the components that allows for the sublimation of the shirts and stuff like that was kind of older and it was no longer functioning, so he was not able to do anything until that he got that. So that was what the precipitated applying for economic development. And then the recommendation was trying to stay in line with directives that you've previously given as far as keeping money coming back into that fund so it's available for future use down the line and not just,
Yes.
so that was where the recommendation came.
Yeah, fine. I just didn't know.
Yeah,
Just trying to get informed.
no, that's what I'm trying to explain it.
Yeah, and I've been real busy, hadn't had a chance. I didn't look,
And I assumed you had watched the video and.
but it
yeah,
wasn't in
so-
the packet. I looked in the packet and it wasn't there, so. And any event, appreciate it. Thanks. That's all I had. So where are we at? We ready to vote?
Yeah, there's a motion in a second, so.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Let the record know I abstain.
And motion passed on the affirmative note on the record that Councilman Whitener abstained from voting. Department head reports. Chief of Police, could you please give us your report?
Yeah, so, obviously, last meeting I gave the annual report for 2025. Um, Today's report kind of, first month of this year, we had a lot more involvement with the local task force, and I'm really happy to, note that the efforts the last 2 years of these task force events, I think it speaks not just for Shoshone, but Fremont County as a whole. So this last one I had, my wife was doing a ride along with me. And the last time she had done one was when we first started doing these task force. And about 3 hours into it, she was complaining that there was no action going on, and she wanted to made a personal goal to find one of the old license plates, just so she had something to focus on, because it's been so effective that when we start these operations, it has a massive effect on the incidents of drunk driving and calls for service. And I think it's been very effective. And it's key that we've continued to participate in those through NHTSA and YDOT funding that provides those services, which is a very huge thing. If you recall, a few years ago, the amount of fatalities on our highways as a result of alcohol had, well, I think we're per capita leading the nation. I mean, we made the
Right.
attention to the federal government. It was that bad. And that's kind of what precipitated this involvement. And I'm very happy to report that our continued involvement, not just Shoshone, but all of the law enforcement agencies and partners in Fremont County have made a noticeable impact in regards to that. And I think that it speaks volumes to the collaboration and working together of all entities with a singular purpose, and these are the results. With that in mind, at 7:30 in the evening, Officer Lee made a traffic stop with a individual who was on parole for murder out of California, and was nice enough to move to Casper, Wyoming. And in that, she initiated a traffic stop and DUI investigation. And him and his girlfriend were so inebriated that they thought they were in Rollins.
Easy to mistake Rollins, Shoshone.
Yeah. And while that was going on, another call for service came from Fast Lane for an intoxicated person at the gas pumps. And I had just gotten back from the EMT class. I wasn't really supposed to be working, but I wasn't going to let a person that was stumbling and then got in his car and drove off north of town not be contacted in light of our efforts, and subsequently arrested that individual for DUI as well. So we had 2 DUIs in the span of 10 minutes in Shoshone. So that's the effect of having a proactive and progressive police department, which kind of goes into the annual report where I talked in length about the proactive nature has led to a precipitous drop in calls for service for different crimes of all different levels for the last 3 years. Every year has declined, which I think is I know is a very positive thing. But it kind of leads to one of those things where when you don't have crimes, you need cops. And then, when you don't have cops, then you have crime. So it's, staying vigilant. And I think that's kind of goes in hand with the task force that I was discussing. Just because we're not getting 10 DUIs every night that we are in operation that shows that we are effective, because we're not getting them. And I think being proactive in Shoshone and around Shoshone has a subsequent effect of citizens know that when they call that we're going to respond. They have faith that there's issues that will be taken care of promptly. And I think that gives a lot of security for people that live in Shoshone or wanting to live in Shoshone, knowing that they have that level of proactive enforcement. So our calls for service are continuing to be mainly more than 50% are self-initiated. So we're actually going out finding things like those DUIs and things of that nature and trying to take those steps to ensure continuity of safety of the community and not just being responsive and sitting and waiting to get a call. So I'm very proud of the guys we have working for us and women. We want to use the right terminology. And I think that as the summer is coming up, I think we're going to be a lot more busy. I'm not sure that was proper English right there, but the way things are going this winter and this kind of the state of things, I think that there's going to be a lot more traffic coming this way for visitation and people just kind of like during COVID where the outdoors draws your attention. You want to, people want to get away from the chaos and stuff that they're addressing. So we are prepared for that. So in our funding request, we're going to be evaluating use of some part-time personnel in this budget season. More so that we have, last year was kind of in flux and we had a lot of things going on and stuff like that. But I think this year that we are firmly set on our direction, that we'll be taking a look at how that will look and how that will transpire. And I think that will give us a lot better coverage in the summertime, where sometimes, you have two officers out, but one's on arrest and is in Lander for 3 hours. And then you have one officer in town, then you have 2 calls for service, 3 calls for service, and looking at times and things of that nature from last year to try and better make sure that one for safety. After my surgery, not that I really want to talk about HIPAA here, but I kind of got in trouble. I think I was 2 weeks out of the hospital after almost, succumbing to sepsis and things like that. And Officer Lee was in an altercation with the male subject outside Lucky 5 who became physical. And so I jumped out of the car and, probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But those are the things that we got to keep in mind. And that's where I think we'll be looking at those to make sure that the safety of our officers as well as the citizens is paramount. And it's pretty much all I got for the report. I don't want to take up too much time since the last one was kind of longer, but any questions?
I would like to comment, I was talking this last weekend with a Riverton citizen, sort of talk about kind of what you're saying about law enforcement. They said, used to people come to Shoshoni to sort of hide out. They could maybe drink too much and meander home and around and stuff like that. That's not the reputation of Shoshoni anymore.
No.
And it's because our law enforcement has done a very efficient and a pretty good job about that. And that included drugs and everything else.
Well, and I think the citizens, I'm not going to put anybody on the spot here, but I think the citizens know they're a lot more vigilant. They're paying attention and they know that they can call and they can expect a result.
Yes.
Versus in the past, not having that assurance or that confidence in that type of response. So a lot of things went unreported. And I think now that obviously has changed for the better because, we're only as but we are a lot more effective when we have community involvement. We can't be everywhere at once, but having citizens that feel confident in calling and getting response and then ensuring, having the faith that it's going to be taken care of appropriately goes a long way in the community relations and the total effect of law enforcement in general.
Yeah, I'd like to also add, I may have mentioned or not, but Wikipedia does not list us as a speed trap anymore. I wrote many letters to them. I raised tech. I explained that we're protecting our citizens, that the 48 average and a 30 is not a speed trap, blah. And they took it initially and they threw me out as spam or whatever and continued for another year, but they finally took that designation off. That we're not a speed trap, we're a real police force, and our police force protects our citizens.
Yeah.
And someone going 48 through town, that's nothing's good about that.
No, not at all. And that's where a lot of things that are stopped here prevent things that might happen.
Yes.
Towards, Thermopolis or Riverton or wherever else. And so we are the crossroads when they come through here. So it's definitely our intention to stay vigilant and stay active and not give an inch. We're not going to go back. We're going to keep going forward.
Anybody else have any questions or comments for the chief?
I just a question, was it a 3-year time span to drop to the our current numbers as far as, this with the task force?
Yes, well, I'd say about 2 years.
2 years, okay.
So, because we just initiated just over 2 years ago, is when we began operations through NHTSA. We were the test subjects for the whole state. So we were the first to do this, where we have a unified task force throughout the county. And since then, I believe 3 other counties have followed, Natrona County, and I think Laramie County, and I want to say there's one more county that has done as well, but following our model and what we've done and the continued involvement. Like I said, my wife was with me and she got so bored because everyone sees Shoshoni cops in Riverton, and then they see Lander cops in Riverton, then they see Riverton cops in Riverton. It's kind of weird to say that, but they see them out there too. So they're like, oh, they know what's going on. And so people are doing like 29 miles an hour. I mean, it's a good thing. And I think that it's not about punitive nature or punishment. It's about setting a message that, we're here to take care of the citizens and ensure the safety of the roads and people on the roads. And, we all have families that drive on the roads, and it's the message that we want to send.
That's a fast drop in a very short amount of time.
We used to get, I think one night we had 3 1080s, which are pursuits, people running from us in one night in Riverton. We had 3 when we first started doing this. They would just run, and they found it really quickly that they would run, and there'd be 9 other cops waiting for them, so they didn't get very far. And so it's a learned behavior, and it's kind of training the citizenry of, this is not what we're not going to tolerate this. And we're not going to step back, and we're not going to allow it to happen. And they learn pretty quickly to do the right thing. Safe Ride has been really huge through WRTA has been providing rides on Friday, Saturday evenings. So that's really helped give an outlet for people that, instead of drinking and driving, they can go drink and then get a safe ride. Things of that nature. So it's been a total community effort, not just law enforcement. Law enforcement is just, for lack of a better word, we're just the muscle of the operation, but we're not the total package. So,
right. Thanks, Chris.
Anybody else, anything from the audience? Appreciate it, chief. Great job. If nothing else, down to new business. The Wind River Oil Field,
What about resolution?
business license, I skipped, resolution. Oh, yeah.
13A.
Resolutions. Resolution 26-05, Wyoming Community Bank Project Funding. Chief.
okay. I guess I'll read it and I'll explain it. Resolution number 26-005, a resolution authorizing financial agreement between Wyoming Community First Bank and the town of Shoshoni. Whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni accepted 3 grants for upgrades to the Shoshoni water system from the State Lands and Investment Board, SLIB. Whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni recognizes that payments received can exceed available funds pending reimbursement from SLIB for previously paid applications, causing delay in payment for current payment applications. And whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni recognizes the payment for construction is paid by the town and reimbursed within 60 days from SLIB. And whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshone recognizes that the simultaneous closeout of numerous grants creates a burden on the liquid cash flow and restricts the ability of the town of Shoshone to operate and respond to unforeseen needs. And whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshone recognizes grant LG 1120 well houses, WS 1121 tank storage and road access improvements, and LG 1122 SCADA will be completed in their entirety, and final submission of eligible reimbursement costs paid from the Shoshone General Fund capital projects will be submitted prior to June 30th, 2026. Whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshone agrees to enter into a final financial agreement with Wyoming Community Bank for a short-term loan via the Water Enterprise Fund in the amount of $200,000. The date for maturity, payment in full, and closeout will be no later than June 30th, 2026, in compliance with Wyoming Statute 4110-125. Whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshone recognizes the town treasurer maintains the ability at any time to pay in full the amount due. Now therefore be it further resolved by the governing body of the town of Shoshone authorizes the entering into a financial agreement with Wyoming Community Bank in the amount of $200,000 drawn upon the Water Enterprise Fund for a short-term loan for water and other town facilities for a period of length of 6 months to be paid by June 30th, 2026. One note, I'll strike out the 6 months, and I meant to strike that out and just have it state that it'll be paid by June 30th, 2026.
Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second it.
Been moved by Councilman Stetler, second by Councilman Hartke. The approved resolution 26-005. Just any discussion?
So I'll just explain it now. So we have simultaneous closing out of these grants. So the well house grant is 1.266 million. Storage tank and road access is 385,000, and the SCADA was budgeted for 290,000. It's at 585,000. So these grants are in their final closeout, which means that we're getting invoices for $300,000 simultaneously in some cases. And so we have two options. We can use our liquid cash reserves to pay it and then wait for the reimbursement to come back in 60 days, 45 days, whatever the case might be. But I don't feel that is in the best interest of the town for the following reasons: that if we had an emergency that were to come up, that we don't have the liquid ability to act immediately, that we would have to have some kind of emergency funding that could delay the responsiveness of the town while waiting for reimbursement. So yes, it is a finance charge that will have to be paid, but I think it's more prudent to handle it this way than to hope that nothing happens while we're waiting for the reimbursement to come back, since we're closing all three of these in a very quick succession.
All the grants, we have to pay the bills, submit the paid bills.
I understand how they
Yeah.
work.
Well,
So it's not really a
I was-
loan
I
per
was
se.
looking,
It's,
but I was
it's
just-
just well, it is a loan, but it's just getting them closed out this budget year and having it paid back when we get the reimbursement. So instead of reimbursement going back to have liquid assets, the reimbursement just pays a loan, or a portion of the reimbursement, I should say, pays a loan. That's not the full amount. That's just what we need.
So does SLIB work where we say we basically submit expenses to them and then they reimburse us?
Correct. Yeah.
So what is the cost of this short-term loan?
I believe it's going to be, I don't have the final numbers, but it's going to be around $2,000.
So it'll be 1%.
If we pay it back, depending on when we pay it back. I mean, I should preface that with the longer, if we pay it back April 1st, obviously. So it'd be about
There's not an agreed to interest rate?
No. I believe it's going to be probably around 5.5 in that ballpark. It could be a little bit higher because of the short nature of the loan. The bank has to make some kind of money off the transaction. So It could be a little bit higher than that, but the trade-off or the counter is that we freeze all spending in the town for a few weeks, other than emergency spending on things that have to be done to ensure we have liquid assets.
I get the idea.
Yeah, I know.
I understand. I mean, it makes sense. I just was curious.
They haven't
How
given us,
our local banks work with us and what type of percentage we pay and, you know, that sort of thing.
and this is the first step. So this has to go to the bank, and then they have to go to the board of trustees, and then we'll have the final numbers. So that'll probably be something that we can have available before the mayor signs the dotted line and all that.
But before we move forward, the council needs to give the instruction to move forward.
What is the grant match on this project?
Right now, they're 100%. So originally they were, we put in that we were gonna pay back 17,000, or sorry, 17% was a cash match. And then the state was reimbursing us at 83 because they're trying to expend all the ARPA funds, which is kind of why this is all happening in such quick succession, is because it has to be spent by June 30th.
Every project has to be done.
Correct.
Paid out.
Correct. So
That's
we're
reimbursed.
yes.
Yeah.
And these are all needed upgrades to the water system. These aren't things like, you know,
Infrastructure.
yeah, they're
Necessary
they're
infrastructure.
not just wants, that they're things that
They're
literally.
needs.
And I'm here to tell you that I know some people in the community have said, just let it fail. The state will bail us out. I promise you, the state is not going to bail us out. If we fail, we're on our own.
You know, there's even some movement that they think towns like Shoshoni should go away. That we should lose our incorporation and just figure out how to fend for ourselves. I mean, their sentiment down there exactly that.
The reason I say that, because I heard some
comments.
comments in town along that nature. And
I
I
have
wanted to
too.
address that to the council because of it's really funny coming from a community that is very, we don't like welfare. But yet you're basically saying you want welfare. I mean, I wish we didn't have to do this, but this is, you know, been in the making for, I think Jay was mayor when some of the stuff started breaking back then too, or was in the process of getting.
Well, that one big iron pipe went up to the tank, blew a hole in it, and
Yeah.
we had a hole out there, big up bury a truck in.
Yeah.
We
so-
lost a pickup.
We did
in
bury
one
it.
of our-
Yeah, we actually-
In there a few years ago.
Still got that piece of pipe laying in my yard.
So this is something that unfortunately has been laying out there for, you know, decades. And
And it all has to be done before June 30th.
but because ARPA gave us the ability to get it done, but it came with the caveats that, so where I'm going with that is because right now we're getting the grants at 100%. We've managed, other than the one grant for SCADA that was underbid by our engineering firm that did it in the level 1 study.
The estimate cost was too low.
Other than that, we've managed all of our other grants at or below budget. So we're getting 100% reimbursement on those. Where we originally thought we were going to spend 17%.
Right, so a good negotiation got to 17% savings.
Yeah. So
$1 million or a couple.
No, over 3 million.
but you know, I think that in the end, these will be done. We'll have a clean budget for the first time in what, 5 years, as far as multi-million-dollar grants that we've been doing every year. So this will be,
I more or less just wanted to ask you that question for the purpose of our community to understand it is reimbursed at 100%. And that it's not like it's quote unquote those that have a gripe about it or ill will spending or any question of that nature, that it's
Yeah,
a
no,
must and it's
absolutely.
reimbursed at 100% and there's no questions with it. So I just wanted to make sure our community is aware of that and understands that it's.
and if you've seen some of our bill lists, you know, some of them, you know, been upwards of $500,000, $600,000, you know, I mean, but when you're waiting for that money to come back, you know, it's like, okay, we got to make sure that we have the, you know, what we need,
But
You know,
you know,
God
they-
forbid.
like Chris said, these weren't stuff that we wanted. We were to a point where we really needed to address this and we want to continue to have water,
Well, no water, no town.
so. It's
Pretty much.
but it is a statewide, that infrastructure is getting aid. What Lander got awarded, what, $40 million? And that isn't near enough because the price, of everything has went up. Where there's some of the work they were hoping to get done, they can't get done because the cost got so high.
Well, I think Hudson has, what is it, 3.5 or $5.5 million in their sewer failures that they have going on.
Right.
And that's something I also want to address. If anybody asks, it's not just about the water. We also did a PR that the town paid for 100% for sewer that is going to go to the next evolution of this infrastructure
Yeah.
is sewer.
Yeah, we plan to move on that too.
But water, we gotta have water first, you know.
Yeah, you gotta have
Don't
water.
need the
That's
sewer.
Yeah.
That's Flowing into it.
Yeah, so, yeah, we're addressing the sewer also.
But anyway,
Break it, there's no water, the sewer system.
Yeah.
There's no water in the sewer, it won't break. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah. Don't need to fix it if you don't have any water.
It's like the business council, the legislature asked, what does it take to fix things statewide, get things sort of caught up, and they said, $2 billion, so then they got fried, the legislature fried, well, you really need $2 billion, so the 50 million we're giving them, we're wasting money, because you need 2 billion. So they went after Josh over that, but that was, an assessment, and that probably wasn't enough either. Because it's statewide, and there's issues. Anyway,
I think
anything else?
you just got to vote now, don't you?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Any more discussion? None being. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passed, all in the affirmative. Thank you. Thank you, chief. Business license.
Nope, got one more resolution.
Oh, one.
FY 26 revenue and expenses resolution 26006.
Okay,
13B.
that isn't what I got on my printout. Let me get back on my page.
Put the right one.
I don't think you have a printout.
Resolution 26006, fiscal year 26 revenue and expenses.
So this is the companion to the previous resolution. And it goes on and some other things too. Resolution number 26-006, a resolution authorizing the increasing of the FY 2026 budget revenues and expenditures for the town of Shoshoni. Whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni passed a budget resolution for FY 2026, including expected revenues and expenditures. And whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni recognizes revenues from unexpected sources and revenues in excess of budget revenues occur due to additional funding made available during the budget year. And whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni recognizes that unexpected expenditures in relation to projects which were not planned prior to the adoption of the FY 26 budget would exceed budget expenditures. And whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni recognizes that the payment of eligible accrual of leave made upon the termination of employment and was unfunded in the FY 26 budget in the amount of $8,486.10. And whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni recognizes the FY 26 budget has $8,333 in unallocated funds available. And whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni recognizes economic development funds are not outlined in the FY 26 appropriations. And whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni approved a reimbursement for economic development in the amount of $7,000. And whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni recognizes the current balance available for economic development is $63,413.08. And whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni passed ordinance 2026-005 on March 10, 2026, authorizing a line of credit up to $200,000 through Wyoming Community Bank. Whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni recognizes that expenditure increases commensurate with funding transfers into the current year budget as a zero-sum outcome in the yearly fiscal year budget. And now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the town of Shoshone authorizes the town treasurer to increase the FY 26 revenues of the following line items in the amount specified commensurate with authorized line of credit 1031-210 miscellaneous revenue $200,000, 1038-130 savings transfer $7,000. Now therefore be it further resolved by the governing body of the town of Shoshone authorizes the town treasurer to increase the budgeted expenditures of the following line items and in the amount specified commensurate with the expected line of credit transfer 1049-976 town hall loan repayment $200,000, 1049-909 economic projects $7,000, 1042-110 salaries and wages $7,385.64, 1042-130 payroll taxes $585, 1041-140 retirement $359.36.
Can I have a motion to approve?
Move that we approve.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Nordine and seconded by Councilwoman Harkey to approve resolution 26-006 fiscal year 26 revenue and expenses discussion.
And just one quick note. So I know there's a lot of different, instead of having 5 different resolutions, it's all in one. So I did split it out. So the reference to the unbudgeted or unfunded accrual of leave that had to be paid out upon termination was when we had I believe I kind of prefaced the council back, I don't know, in November, that at some point this year, we were going to look at, if we needed to, before we actually requested the funding transfer to pay for, it was almost $10,000 paying off vacation time and comp time accrual when the employee left. So that is not something that's budgeted. Obviously, as you know, leave time is not a funded item. And so when you have a large outgoing, it affects the budget. So we've done everything we possibly could within the confines of the appropriations that were made in the FY 26 budget to try and cover all of this without having to do anything. But obviously that has its limits. And that's kind of where we're at now. If we don't do this, then we run out of funding for payroll for this one position in May because of that $10,000 that came out. So this doesn't fully cover what was paid out, but we only have $8,330 available. So that's what we're going to go with. Plus what we've already reallocated within our discretionary funds to make up that gap. This gets us through the appropriations for the employment. So that's why that's included in there and broken down to that exact amount. So, but through the other measures that we've taken with the other department heads, we were able to cover a lot of that expense, just not all of it. We had some budget cuts that we came in there with, so we had limited flexibility with some of our discretionary funds to backfill payroll. And so that's kind of where we're at now, just getting it done now because it's going to be an issue towards the end of May where we don't have the spending authority to make up that $10,000+ that was paid out without this. And then also the loan has to be budgeted as a revenue, then an expenditure in this budget year to come in and then go back out.
Any more discussion, questions? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passed all in the affirmative. His business license, Ryan Tonelli, Little House, Wonder.
So as you know that maybe don't know, Tonelli was operating the Pink Building, the old Yellowstone Drug, up a business license last year that allowed him to operate a second location for that end of that year. And he was supposed to put this application in before he opened up business at that second location as its own standalone. And whether there was loss in translation, confusion, uncertainty, Melissa followed up and stayed on it and had some conversation that you have to have the business license to be able to operate. So this is the business license specifically for, it used to be the Phillies and Cream.
So down by the clinic.
Yes,
Mhm.
yep.
Okay.
And so we didn't shut him down initially, but we did have some conversations that this had to get done because he was operating without a business license for that business. And like I said, you know, there was a little bit of confusion because last year and the business license that he had that didn't have a specific address on it allowed him to operate anywhere in town. That was rectified. And so that's why we're here. We're just trying to shore up all the business licenses and just stay on that theme of making sure that we're staying on top of things and not just letting them slide. So
Move we approve the business license.
I'll second it.
Been moved by Councilman Stetler, second by Councilman Hartby, that we approve the business license for Ryan Tinelli, Little House of Wonder. Any further discussion?
little shop a hole.
None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passed on the affirmative. Now down to Wind River Oilfield Service change order number 6.
If you want to go into discussion or this is for an eye wash station. As OSHA aspect, we have a flaking pipe. Some of the older pipe has some rust and it's I believe it was stainless steel, but it still has that rust band around it. So as it expands or whatever, it can like flake off and shoot. So having the eye wash stations, but also the chlorine gas injection and just having an eye wash station. Why that wasn't in the original contract, I guess it was an oversight, but
Who wants brush chucks in their eye when they're washing their eyes in an emergency situation, right?
that's why you wear glasses.
Yes.
So it's
we have this covered, how's this covered?
What's that, sir?
Still in the grant? It's covered
Yeah,
in the-
yeah, it's still under the grant.
Okay.
Just barely. I mean, but this should be the last change order. And I think we have one more final bill, so this kind of is already in the works. So we're
Move we approve
Yeah,
the
second.
change order number 6.
Sorry,
We're tied.
emotion, by second.
Been moved by Councilman Stetler, second by Councilman Nordine, that we approve Wind River Oilfield Service change order number 6. What was the amount?
$8,419.20.
$8,419.20. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passed on the affirmative. B, Wind River Oilfield Services Pay App number 6.
So I requested this one be split up just to make for the ease of the loan aspect of things. So this actually was a $336,000 pay app. We split it in 2 chunks. This one's 201,000. So we can get this one processed, paid, get that one going. And then the next one will be 136,000. And then I believe 55,000. And then there's a couple other ones that'll be coming too. But that way we get this one rolling as quickly as possible. So we minimize any fees for
Late
the
payment.
loan. Yeah, to try and minimize as much as possible.
So. Can I have a,
I'll make a motion to approve that.
okay, that's what I was gonna ask.
I'll second it.
Been moved by Councilman Whitener, second by Councilman Harkey to approve Winter Oil Field Service Pay App number 6, $201,000. Any further discussion?
I have one, not that it changes anything, I just curious as we hadn't got an update from Mike Quiver regarding the casing on that well too, when they sleeved it, which it's on there. So just curious as to how that went. Do you know, Joel?
I do not.
Okay.
I believe Quiver will be on the next council for a report too, so I'll send an email, make sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to know how that sleeving went of that casing issue.
We could probably have the engineer here too, Kyle.
Okay.
Just because there's a lot of things that questions along that
Well, last time Kyle was here, we had talked about two different ways of doing it, and I
Right.
just didn't know which way they ended up going.
yeah, I'll see if it can be at the next meeting, especially because we're coming up to close out, so we should be hitting the substantial completion portion anyway. So I think
I've had that in my notes for a while, so just curious.
I'll ask him if he can be here at this next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Those the same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. Roundtable, do you have anything you'd like to add, Jordan?
Oh, update on Second Street down at the corner we talked about last roundtable. Do we have any clear update there? I've been just getting hit left and right over that property on the end.
On Second Street?
Maybe it's Third.
Oh,
Yeah, Third Street. My bad.
it's currently in the town's right away, but he can have stuff on that unless we force him to
Moved it
remove it.
around a little bit.
Well,
Moved it from one.
It got
corner
better, then it
to
got
the
worse.
other Corner and then move the tires further out and then back in. And my concern of driving by there, not from the citizens I've been approached by, but my concern is that ring of tires is blocking that fire hydrant. And so if there is a fire there, it's just one more thing in the way.
right. I will have another word with him tomorrow.
Outside of the eyesore, but my biggest concern is
No,
somebody in that area and the fire department needs to utilize that fire hydrant.
well, it's just like, we talked to him and then he started making improvements. It's like, okay, it's getting better. And then fast forward a month and it's like, well, never mind.
It's like we found some more collectibles or something. So I just been getting chatted with by two same individuals that have approached me continuously over that. So just getting a follow-up. That's what I got.
Tammy, do you have something?
Yeah, I had some people approach me from here that came into my job. And they want to see a restaurant go into the old city hall. And I actually think that's a good idea.
Oh, I think that'd be a good idea also.
This town just needs some cheering. But that's what they came in for. But they did bring up that things are looking nice with the sidewalks and, I mean, that was one thing they were wanting was a restaurant.
We need a restaurant
Yeah.
badly. Originally, that's what I was hoping that would go there.
Right? That's all I got.
But Mr. Nordine, Councilman Nordine.
So last meeting, I distributed a draft of the proposed strategic plan. And at that meeting, Freddie set up a time for me to come to the chamber and present to the chamber. Thank you again for allowing me to come. I really appreciate that. That was a fun time. So it really was fun. Good folks, and it was great to have that conversation. What I heard from the chamber, correct me if I'm wrong, was looks pretty good. Go ahead. And so that was feedback I got from the chamber. Okay. So what I'm curious about is next steps to adoption. What do we need to do at this point? I mean, we haven't formally adopted it yet here, of course. So what do we need to do next?
We bring it up as an action item.
I would like to suggest that maybe we do during our workshop, like with budget, and maybe have a workshop on that outside before it becomes an action item, so we can kind of refine things and add things, get more commentary from everybody and put on it in a less official capacity. That's just a suggestion, but I think that would be maybe more beneficial before,
Well, that would, we could do that.
we just earmarked an hour for, whatever, for a workshop to address it, since it is kind of a big thing, adopting it and making sure we have everything put in there, and you could have public input and stuff like that too, possibly.
I think that'd be great. I just hadn't received anything from anybody.
You
So-
did too. You received something from me. I said, I like it.
All right, except for Jordan, you said you liked it. So anyway, I think that's fine. I mean, if it's not adopted or there's not the buy-in, it's not the term I'm looking for from the council and the town, then it's just a worthless piece of paper. And it needs to be more, it needs to be frankly a driving force for what we do as a town. So I am all in favor of, having the discussion. I mean, and hopefully it doesn't, I mean, we're working and we're doing okay. I just, to me, it's just a critical step to get done. So when will we be doing that meeting?
But we're just talking, this is a mission statement, if I remember correctly, not a what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, there's a mission vision. There's also different pillars of that I think need to be discussed, and there's some action or there's items underneath those that I think is certainly a worthy for discussion and debate. But it really would drive decision making. It would drive projects that drive decision making. It would drive direction. And so and your Code of the West is in there. Yeah. So I mean that's there. So I mean it's not just a suggestion. It's really more driving force document, which then guides the master plan, which becomes the physical plant and all the things that we do with.
Yeah, I'm saying it's not the master plan.
It is not the master plan.
And so, yeah, so that was what I was getting at. But also I'd like to know that FCAG adopted the Code of the West also.
It was nice to add it in. So it's all there.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess when that would be.
Well, we'll be starting to do the workshops here directly.
That's part of what I'm going to be talking about also.
Yeah, so. Okay. That's what I have.
Jake,
I was just curious how the progress is going for the west side expansion.
Thank you.
I knew Councilman Whitener was thinking the same thing.
I brought maps for us to look at.
If the realtor, anything,
We need to get things platted for the realtor is really going to do anything. So I just had a meeting with our surveyor. And we discussed some issues here. Here is the 40 acres west side is up top of that.
I was under the impression that the realtor was going to take a. That's what we were waiting on.
That was my understanding also.
Mine too. And who is the realtor?
That lease.
Lisa Burgage.
Why hasn't she came and talked to any of us yet?
And my also understanding was there was some sort of communication back and forth that Marshall was reviewing it, had reviewed on something or another with potentially having her do that. If that reminds me, right, I've had a couple sleeps and there's been a couple months in between.
This plat, okay, the plat we have for the 70 acres. 73 acres, we gotta finish that we had questions on. We had settled on this plat,
Right.
correct?
Yes.
We need to plat this, you know. Her recommendations was maybe downsize on some of our square footage to smaller houses instead of 1,400 square foot. But other than,
Which is easily done because we never actually adopted.
No, we-
1,400 square foot.
no, we didn't, and that was part of what I was gonna be bringing up in my round table. That's why I printed these out.
Yeah.
We just have to get rolling on this, and I feel like it's been kind of
So
wheel spinning.
what was the concern with the surveyor about the plating this way?
Planted this way?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Oh, okay. And we did agree to that.
Yes,
We
And it
did.
was passed.
yeah,
Okay, so we're just waiting on the surveyor.
yeah. The only,
Joel, you know, make sure you let him know that Elm Street is not Elm Street. We only have one Elm Street. That's actually Cottonwood Street.
okay,
Yeah, we did rename that.
Yeah,
It's Cottonwood.
it's on, like, first,
This one.
first in California.
Yep.
I know, 'cause my house sits on it.
but we do have
Haven't.
something that came up. If you look, this is, we can read the small print. So block block 13. It goes on the southern end. Cause it's a narrow, long strip on the south side of 4th Street.
Yeah.
That would button up to where the senior housing is, all the way out to Herbst Lane.
Yeah.
4th Street.
But isn't that, what's his face's land?
No, that's our land.
Britton's?
This is on the other side.
He's on the other side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we have a narrow strip there that goes up against Bobby Britton's land,
How narrow is that?
50 some feet.
51 feet, 51.1 feet.
Which is wider than some of our lots.
Right. So we could actually make those lots that go that way and actually put, maybe we was originally looking for putting the land near senior housing and potential other senior housing duplexes. We could actually make that as part of what I'm gonna be bringing up, actually zone that where we could put duplexes.
And we're talking on the south side of the 4th, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
our original plan was only on the 4th Street north for R1. If it's gonna be on the south side of 4th Street, it wouldn't interfere with that.
No, and
Potentially.
we could even, on some of the north side of 4th Street, adjacent across that street, we could even open that up for like duplexes.
I mean, I guess we never finalized it, but I thought, you could put between 4th and 5th would be a continuity of R3, which goes across. And then that way from
Or you'd have your,
between 4th and 5th would be R3, and then 5th north would be R1 potentially. I mean, I'm just,
Well, R2, not R3, I think. We can have a duplex, can we have a duplex in R2? We don't want trailers, that's what we wanted to
I
stay away
don't
from.
think we can on an R2.
Okay. But anyway, that sort of that part in there, we were looking at senior housing anyway.
Does that include the duplexes? Does that include townhouses as well?
That would include a townhouse, that'd be,
Yeah, because, I mean, on Park Street, when you're headed toward, going toward the, for lack of better terms, I go that way to go to the dump, right? And, there's those really nice townhouses on the side of the street, on the, that would be the
Correct.
south side.
Yes,
And they're, I mean, they're well kept, they're attractive, they look smart, and frankly, they're not as expensive as other places, so, you know, townhouses could be a good possibility.
yes.
You don't
Down,
have townhouses?
a townhouse or duplex, I mean,
Right.
tomato, tomato.
Yeah, I mean.
No, they're building some new duplexes in
Yeah.
Riverton that are 3 bedroom, 2 bath.
It's at least two.
there any good reason why we
1,200 square feet.
can't leave the plating the way it is
My great
and just plan on the town keeping that 51.1 feet?
There's like 4 of them. She's the old Victorian
We-
tea lady.
Could do that. I was just thinking the opportunity potentially to sell them.
Well, if we were putting senior housing there, we probably weren't gonna sell it.
Yeah, it's, you know, the problem is with senior housing. Cause we can't, we're unable to join the feds. And because they, 2.5, 3 years ago, I took training. Where I could, if needed to be, could manage that type of housing. But there's always been in the past, the city's never signed up for it because too much paperwork. And we don't have an extra person, so it wouldn't generate enough extra money to do that, but you could get subsidies from the federal government, then on all of our units, even the current ones we have now, to pay substantially more than what we're receiving. But there, with the price of building, you know, even the building new senior housing, it's just what we can charge for that. The math doesn't work where we can afford to do it. Cause seeing part of increased senior housing was something I really wanted to do. That's why I took the class where I could do that. But just the finances, just that if we can't join, once I pass the test, I called the feds and tried to see what it would take to get us enrolled in what program and work through that whole program. And they said that we're not accepting any new federal government shut that down. So, and I wasn't aware of that, so senior housing is gonna be really hard for us to develop. And else we're developing senior housing that's relatively expensive. So,
Guess we can change the mechanism of
you know,
what
so if we
is
could sell
allowed
the
to live
land,
there.
so if we could sell some land to developers that would be willing to build the duplexes or townhomes there. Go down that route. Was my thoughts. We need
Well, I think
trying to sell land.
I think the bottom line is we need to get it to a point to even see if there's any developers interested.
There is.
Who?
Cindy Simcox for one.
Okay, well, there's one. And is she interested in building a duplex, interested in
yes, she is.
building
Building duplexes.
townhomes?
She's
Is there any others that
she's
you,
interested in building duplexes.
is there any, I know Cindy's a great gal. Is there any other people? My point is, that's the whole point of this realtor lady that we dug into within Casper, where she was supposed to help us find these developers for this property, and we just keep kicking the can from one end of the field to the next, and that we've never picked it up and put it in the trash or bagged it up and sealed the deal. So we need to lock her in 4 low here and get some
Yeah,
trash.
she hadn't came up with a developer that would be willing to come up and build. She had some interest, but they haven't squeezed the trigger. They said they couldn't come up for less than 6 units. But they haven't squeezed the trigger. That was discussions. But if we're gonna do that, we need to zone the land where they could do that. Anybody. That was gonna be part of my discussion. That's what we need to do. We need to be able, we need to get it platted. We need to rezone it where they can build. And we need to set the restrictions, what they're gonna be on, and move forward.
I got a question, so. As an attorney, was the plan to try to build homes and sell homes, or because you can't do that by statute?
Well, no, that isn't our plan.
Okay, it's just selling lots, correct?
Selling lots,
Okay,
selling lots to developers that want to build homes. We're not gonna build homes.
right, well, or just actually. The developer could go in and do everything and then get paid back for each lot that gets sold by the town through a realtor. That's how that should work.
I would be better off selling the lots.
I think if you do that, you're gonna, if you do it without any development, and just from past experience, you're gonna have trailers out there. No one else will go out there because the cost of putting power in, from what I've seen, and putting everything else in, but that's,
We have power, is what I was told, power, water, sewer for the outside.
right, like,
And we could move forward on selling those while we're working on getting
Correct.
utilities to the rest.
you could, but I guess, my point is, you need to look at your zoning if you wanna do that.
Yes,
Because if you want nice homes. then
Right.
You're gonna wanna have streets and stuff, but if you don't want it to put the streets and stuff in, you're gonna be sitting on them for a long time, is all I'm saying. Because the cost of putting that stuff in is expensive. There's big lots right in the middle of Thermopolis, there's a couple, 4 blocks, no one will come in and develop it because it's too expensive, just right in the middle of Thermopolis to put in streets and power. And it's just literally across the way. So that's just something we need to think about when we're looking at that.
So how do they put in streets and power? Is that a community? So it'd be for us, our responsibility as the town to do that? Or-
Well, that's what the developer or the realtor, the original talk was, is you get a developer that's willing to
Do that.
put some skin in the game, get paid back as each lot gets sold.
That's a pretty typical way of doing it too, right?
Yeah.
So why is that a problem? Why aren't they doing that in Thermopolis then? I mean, it's just,
Someone else came in and actually bought those blocks a long time ago as investment. Now they're stuck.
Yeah.
It's not, the town doesn't own
So you're saying, let the lots go to the realtor and then,
it. No,
I guess I was confused.
the way I've seen it, heard, and what I did my research on, like, so the way the contract would be set up was the realtor. And the developer would basically come in. Have it platted, start doing the work, and then as the lot sold, they would get obviously their cut as the town sold each lot through the realtor. Does that make sense? So it's not getting sold to the developer.
I see. So the town still has the property, but as they sell it, not a commission, but a portion of it goes to.
As part of that contract with the realtor / developer.
So it sells for 10,000, the town gets 3,000, developer gets 5,000, and the realtor gets 2,000, or whatever the breakdown is.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Which is the importance of having a realtor. Is what I'm understanding. Somebody that's concrete, set in stone. I don't think we should try to be the realtor here. But we need somebody that's got ties to development. Or it'll be for sale. And then we're gonna have to entertain somebody that walks in and says, well, this is my plan. Buys it and does jack shit with it. So I guess we have to figure out what we really want there. We would just want to get rid of the land, zone it and sell the land. Or do we want to see it develop? I guess that's probably something we maybe need to have a special meeting on and figure out what we think the right track is. That's my 2 cents.
and that's why I reached out to the realtor idea.
Right. which I appreciate you doing that. We just haven't,
you know.
we need to meet them and see what.
Yep, I've
What
tried to
they
get
envision.
her up here several times to talk to the council.
And if she's not willing to come, maybe
And
it's
she-
time to open up our search.
No, but it's,
We can't wait on somebody else. Like that's how I feel.
but we also need to plat it and zone.
But it's a plat.
Plating's done.
It's not filed. It's gotta be filed with the county or it basically is not done.
Well, yeah, but that's been like 2.5 years. We had this design.
Okay, no, it's just got, I just talked to it
I
just.
know. I'm not talking to you, I'm talking on him,
Oh, okay.
that this is something that predates Councilman Rodine, Councilman Whitener. This was back when we were in Old Town Hall. We did that. We had numerous sessions on this. We agreed on the plan and we had the meetings and was supposed to have the pins and it's been years. I don't understand. We already paid him the money, you know. Shame on me for paying him in advance or suggesting we pay him in advance because it's like, come on, man.
We just
Well,
need
the
a-
pins just got set.
I know.
Yes.
Oh, so he just needs to sign it?
He needs to. He needs to get it. We have one issue with the property on the south side. What we're doing, other than that, it's done. And I expect it'll be filed maybe later this week. I met with him last week.
And who is that?
Gary with Apex.
And then I'll have the ordinance draft copy for the first reading for R1, R2, and R3 at the next meeting. We'll start that process of getting that finalized. So that way it's all done before the end of the year. Or before summer gets here, I should say. Or this
Fiscal year.
And that way any changes or whatever needs to be made, you know, for the size and all these things, you know, we can figure out. That way those can get done, then you know, the council can then formally zone.
And we did have one other developer out of Riverton that touched bases with me last end of November, but he hadn't been back in touch. But he was.
I think we really need to hit the ground and.
But
on
Cindy
that.
Singh Cox does.
I know on the
The money to
minimum
go
house
for
size, I even said it. Where it was set at 1,400 square feet or
That's,
something.
we never said it. That's what we talked about was minimum size 1,400.
Yeah, nothing's been officially approved. I
Yes.
still contend 1,200 square foot's plenty for a family of four. It's comfortable for a family of four. Been there.
Yep, and that was the recommendation from Lisa.
Was 1,200.
1,200 square foot.
1,000 would be fine too.
That was.
Family of three.
She just said what the price of what housing is now today. 1,400, that was a good number, but now. And I have different, but that was her recommendation, be easier to sell.
Well,
That's what we-
the nice thing about it is we can zone some of it this way and some of it a little
I mean,
larger.
You get south of 4th Street and you got sagebrush and horse corrals. So to say you can only have R1 budding to that seems a little.
I
Exactly.
thought that'd be a great
Yeah.
place for duplexes
Oh,
all
yeah.
around that street.
So I don't think it'd be spot zoning either if we had like an R2, R3, and then as you get further north, R1. What we did is we had these meetings, and we got this big old fat packet of crap everybody agreed upon that we never adopted.
Right,
And when he's talking about the minimum square footage and all that, so when it gets all put together, we'll have to thumb through it and approve it or not. And if we have to go through every single one of those again, I'm gonna be sick for every one of those work sessions. Because
I don't think we need to do all that.
I already done.
I think we got that, the hard stuff, but it's the minutia.
And like doing away with the SR1
Yeah,
and making it just ag and a lot of the language is very confusing, so just setbacks and all that, it was all done, we just never adopted it, so
and setbacks on those lots that's narrow that way is really important what that is and to. And part of it, the survey where the fence is on the south side there is off. As much as 11 feet, if I don't know if that shows up, you can read a small print. But
It's a lot on a 50-foot lot, 50-foot wide.
yeah, but some of it's that fence is 11 foot off,
In favor of us or not in favor?
not in favor of us,
So somebody's gonna have to move their fence?
possibly. That was one of the things I was gonna be talking to Marshall about.
Well, if it's on our property, it's not their fence.
It's our fence.
I'm sure being a good neighbor, we can get it handled.
I think so.
I'll be on, I tried to suggest an easy way to do it. Cause I would, we're always, the road on the west side of the senior center, that's all on Bobby Britton's land. And we're trespassing there a lot. Our seniors used to park vehicles there. And he said, keep your seniors off my land. She has the right to do that, park there and stuff like that. So I suggested we potentially trade some of that land that's off there for some of that land there and just kind of don't move the fence. Everything's good. But he's not really up to that. He still says that survey's off. And the
And he can
fence is,
pay for
and the
another
fence is
survey.
right.
Isn't that how that goes? That he can pay for another survey?
I don't know, so. But I think, yeah, I just don't know the status of that. The fence has been there for a lot of years and. We just became aware of it, when, I was told, was it last year or whenever, that was not correct. And the surveyor was gonna talk to him, see if he couldn't work something out, but he thought maybe he'd talk to him. But we were looking at one time buying that land, we ended up buying the land we did. The 113 acres. We was looking to expand in the senior center that was. Not senior center, senior house. I think that's where that is. Anything else? Sort of get into what I was going to go on.
That's all I.
Yeah, I was about the same thing. We sort of need to get together and figure out our work together and get our plating. I'm suggesting that we ought to have a work session, but I believe we should have it on a Saturday where we have enough time to look at some of this.
I'm gonna be gone that day.
Every Saturday,
But
right?
I'm, I think we need to do it and that, or we're gonna end up, with really long hours.
Are you talking for the 73 acres?
Yeah, we have the 73 acres. And, we gotta figure out what we're gonna do with that. We got zoning. We used to have meetings on Saturdays. Years ago, I've said that when I was on the council, I said on meetings on Saturdays, work sessions and stuff. Where you could have 3-4 hours to work on stuff. We need to do that. We need to come up with hangers. We need to come up what is going to be accessible or not acceptable for hangers. We get that to the ones out there that want to repair them. So they know what they're going to do. We need to set it. And I went out there and looked at them again, looked in them where I could and stuff like that. But we need to do something so they know what they're up against.
2 of them don't have anything in them. I've been out there and looked.
Well, there's some other junk in there, but yeah, no airplanes in two.
No,
of them.
they did. Yeah.
But there's airplanes in 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
But last we know, they wanted to keep their hangars. So we needed to know, they wanted to know from us what they need to do to keep them.
Bulldoze it, start over.
Well, that is one solution, but they may be able to. It might be just as cheap to bulldoze and start.
Well, the
over.
winds that we're having, I can't believe that they're still standing.
I think it's of utmost on the ones, there's only one that I see that's even repairable.
Of the three, yeah.
And that was the gentleman that came in.
Right.
But I think before he even receives anything, he needs to figure out his lease deal with the changeover of that.
Mhm.
And
I
then,
think, that was in process of getting a release from her and then to him. Last I heard, last week, I think.
and then I think we do need to set some parameters.
Yeah. I've
On
been,
that,
yeah,
but I think my biggest thing is no more fiberglass sheets.
yeah.
Well, the ones that come off the other old buildings, put it on that one.
Put it on there and put a coat of paint on it and make
Yeah,
it
it'd
decent.
be look
Yeah.
good.
Like
It would.
a little pride.
But the other two hangars are such bad shape, both people contacted wanting to know what the. And the other one, we
And I
didn't
think
have
you're
his name down, so no paperwork was done on his exchange either.
We're gonna have burn days here soon. And
I think those other two is a good comment to say, start over.
Well, we need to,
And you don't have a plane in there anyway, so start over.
so, so that's, our next council meeting, we can address it, but we need to address that as I think what we're gonna do and
Well, I think
if it
that,
looks, if they, yeah, I don't know if the bones, if they put new sheet metal stuff on the outside or new siding, wood or whatever, if that would. I don't know what, one of them even's got an outhouse. Did you know that? I didn't really notice that. One of them's got an outhouse.
I mean, guess we're.
It's not a dumb.
Don't really
idea.
need one out there, you just kind of.
I mean, I don't know, but I actually never noticed that before. But there's a little outhouse on one of them.
So what's the
But,
privacy from the elk or the elk?
is anybody available next week? If so, what day? We probably need to iron some of this out.
I have gone Tuesday through the next week and a half.
Will you be inebriated or can you
So I'll
phone
be
in?
under
I
drugs
can't do
related
anything
surgery.
19th.
You'll be
21st.
inebriated.
We don't have a calendar in front of me.
I had back.
You are or not available?
I'm not available, not the 19th through the 21st. My daughter's coming tonight, missing that.
I'm busy Friday.
The
Saturday, Sunday.
21st, is it that on a Saturday?
Me too, Jake.
I am.
No, I am too.
I can, yeah, it's a
I'm at the
case.
same visit they are.
Really, I got a babysitter lined out and everything.
This weekend.
Every
The
weekend.
The Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the 21st.
I can say I'm maybe disappointed if the councils aren't willing to work weekends. I am. I do it all the time.
I just can't, Joel.
Okay,
That
that
weekend.
weekend, yes, if we got it there, but it's, the 21st not a good day for me either. That's why I knew it was a Saturday. But, I could, but not all day. I could make part of a
I
day.
can't make any of it.
But if, I just know people will work, that's why I'm saying weekend. Cause people, to me, I'm pretty much retired, so it usually doesn't make any day just another day to me, so.
I got little kids in a ranch. It does matter to me.
So,
So next week is the 16th, 17th and 18th. What do you need of those days work for anybody?
Yeah, not 19th for me either. I'm a dead man.
So
Sorry.
16th, 17th or 18th.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for Mark.
No, that's just a bad week for me. And the next week is bad too.
So that puts us into April. That's a pretty late response to give someone a chance to.
What were you want to go over the airports?
Yeah, we need to give, we
well,
need to have a
airport-
structure,
airport's definitely one of the things.
the zoning, and then I think the
Airport.
realtor.
Yep.
What?
On the 14th.
Why don't we just try and combine things instead of having like meetings like 3 or 4 days a week, you get budget hearings and try and combine everything on day we're doing budget stuff.
I'm just saying, are we gonna give somebody 2 months to fix an airport hangar?
No, I'm saying we're getting ready to do budget now and add these or schedule these things on the days that we're doing stuff with the budget workshops, have these workshops on the same days,
Whatever.
Can
I
you
don't-
do it this Saturday?
whatever day that might be.
Yeah, I can.
I can't this
You
Saturday.
can't.
In the morning, I've got A2A meeting.
Hmm.
John, we have an A2A meeting Saturday.
Wow, that's scheduled on the fly.
No, it's been scheduled for a month.
You forgot to send out
John
the
just
memo.
I know.
I could make this Saturday work.
I really can't. You guys go ahead.
Yeah, I can do it this Saturday.
Really, any time's fine for me.
For me too, doesn't make any difference.
If we did like 7 a.m., I could be here.
Hmm.
About 8:30.
I could do 8:30.
No, till 8:30. I got a tax appointment. I've been
Okay,
waiting.
yeah.
I've been waiting a month for this thing. I ain't missing.
I understand that. I got taxes to do too, yes.
I hope you have an appointment.
I already got one back.
Cause one of them big
I
accounting firms in
filed.
Riverton shut
I had
down,
to
so everything
pay.
else is booked out.
You know. I've been using the same gal for over 20 years. I got an appointment with her.
Good. I used the same one for 25
And he
years.
retired?
No, they booked me out, so
Oh, really?
last year was my last year with them. I'm done. Booked me out. I'm
Don't
done.
be in the,
Well, I think I do.
Joel, I could do something in the afternoon, but not the morning.
Okay.
Afternoon would be better.
No, cause
No.
I'm picking up 100 alfalfa hay bales.
Do you want to talk 1 o'clock? 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock? I
1 o'clock.
One,
No, we're better.
I don't give a rat's.
Whatever you guys want to do.
We just need to get some traction on a couple things here.
I can do 1 o'clock Saturday.
I agree. 1 o'clock Saturday.
If it really is a 3-hour work session, I'll make some of it.
What do we want to put? We need to advertise we're doing it.
I think the
What do we
main thing
want?
is the airplane hangars. So we can get something back.
No, we can do airport hangars and zoning.
Yeah,
Good with that. And Realtor, you said?
Zoning.
No, we don't do that for a workstation or work session.
I will reach out to the realtor. She got any ideas.
And even if she doesn't,
See if she's not doing something on Saturday.
well, even if she's not wholeheartedly in here, maybe she can recommend us to somebody that would be a good fit.
Sure. She's tried to find us a developer and hadn't had any luck. She talked to one developer. He just doesn't have the funding to move forward.
can we have a time from 1 to something or other, so that way it doesn't become a meeting that just lasts in hell? You know, that it just comes to an end. You know, so we know, and we can minimize the bunny trails and the sidetrack and side talking, and so we can just get
Okay.
it done. You know,
Thanks, Mark.
1 to 4.
about 1 to 3.
1 to, well, what about 1 to 4?
About 1 to 3. It's our day off.
It was.
These days off, speaketh of.
I know. I haven't had one of those.
I would take that.
I think an hour and a half is plenty. If we can't accomplish something in an hour and a half, we got other problems.
So
Or
we need
We're
to
on
talk,
2
we
hours
need to
tonight.
talk
Splitting this up.
hangar, zoning.
Well, I think we just need to not come in here with the mindset of talk about everything. So let's just go.
Well, that's why we're narrowing it down. right?
Zoning and airplane hangars.
That sounds good to me. And if we can come with a proposal to discuss.
Well, in zoning, we could be talking duplexes and stuff like that if we're gonna allow that.
Yeah, right.
45 minutes per one is plenty.
And if we could come up with a plan, we can, you know, a proposal, we can help minimize that gives us direction on kind of what to discuss, so.
Do we wanna? Zoning, do we wanna kick around the 73 acre?
I'm not worried about that at this point, I don't think.
I am, I'd like to get it. We need we need to come up. Maybe it doesn't take much, but we just like what do we want it to look like? You know, if we're gonna have that area, you know,
Tentatively,
I brought
we'll talk
them up.
about that.
okay.
Let's
We,
just
as long as
accomplish
we
a
put
couple
in our notice that allows us to talk, so we're talking possibly 3 subjects, right?
But main focus is 2.
You know, we'll see how it develops, right? See if we got time to talk about the third.
Correct.
Much.
I'm good with that.
Okay, very good. Appreciate it. I think this is all important stuff that we need to do. Keep in mind, we're gonna have, at SLIB, we're gonna have be hit 3 new we're gonna lose 3 new officers, 3 officers, and SLIB will be gone.
Do what?
3 officers in SLIB will be gone next year
Oh,
because of the election.
Oh.
Because we got Governor Gordon can't rerun. Chuck Gray, Secretary of State, he's running for Congress.
he's gotta get elected first.
And I said he's running, but he's not running for Secretary of State.
Oh, he's not?
No,
Oh.
he's running for Congress, so his position and superintendent of schools is running for governor. And so those 3, so we'll have 3 new SLIB members, which ain't always a good thing. Because we got a good working relationship with that. I just wanted we gotta figure out who's gonna be replaced and I just wanna bring that, keep it in mind. Legislatively, we got our 8%, so we actually got an increase in our direct distribution. So it wasn't a decrease, but it's a significant increase over the governor was wanting basically 105 million over the biennium. And we're at about 150 million. We went to a sales tax percent where we're getting the money in a percentage. And we won't have to go back every 2 years like we've had to. This is in statute, so that was you know, a really good thing. The other stuff I can send you emails about. But it went went really well. Governor vetoed, line 9 vetoed so we may still have state funding for Wyoming cardiopulmonary.
Okay.
I don't. Tomorrow's the last day that the legislature can override a veto.
And this is a veto.
It was for all sorts of funding.
This was a line item video that stripped away funding from the Wyoming Business Council. Cause they tried to do away with it completely. They took a lot of funding away from it. But I'm gonna be meeting with Patrick Edwards next week about it. We'll see what anyway, I just wanted to touch base on that. So we're also looking at federal funding for it. So we're still working on that project. It's not, you know, but it'd be important if we had that 6 million with state funding or even stream, whatever we have, something that'll help. So we're not having to look for everything on the federal, but we're working on that too. So we're still working on that project. In event, we have a motion to adjourn. Now someone's got something else.
Do you have something?
Oh, excuse me, John, you said you had something. I apologize. Please come and tell us.
I thought you were gonna bring back up the 3/4%.
Oh, yeah, okay, Okay, 3/4 cent. Chris. Tell us about your meeting and what we propose.
Okay, so last week I got invited by Mick Pryor. He's the chairman of the FCAG Select Committee on the 3/4 cent proposal. And Lisa Malone, our EAG engineering, was also on that committee. Patrick Edwards was there. And then Tim Nichols, they didn't have a quorum. So we kind of went into broad discussion. They invited me specifically about the ambulance. And in that discussion, I'm going to sum it up really quickly. I talked for about an hour about it. But my contention is that the current state of the ambulance service is what precipitated Shoshoni even going down the route of having an ambulance because of the lack thereof. Du Bois is in a similar situation, I'll bet a little bit differently than we are. The 3/4 cent tax, as it's currently presented, would be $6.5 million. 54% on the ballot would go to the ambulance. 31% would go to commercial air service, and the remaining, I think it's 24% or whatever. I'm kind of tired, so my math's off right now. Maybe it's 15%, would go towards ground transportation. As we discussed last time, in the absence of a plan and the status quo, by not signing the MOA, which is separate than the resolution that's being requested of all the communities, if it were to pass, then the town would be able to keep those monies as long as we were spending it on the same ballot language, i.e. an ambulance, commercial air service, which we don't have. So that might have to be remitted. And then ground transportation, we discussed through the senior center and expanding opportunities for the senior center to have transportation to and from Riverton and vice versa. The biggest point of contention on that, I feel, is the ambulance. Everybody has, the question was, why isn't it 3 separate ballot measures? Why is it all in one? Well, Wyoming can only have, there's 4% base tax. We have the 5% optional for roads infrastructure. We have the 6% economic development, and then we have the 7%. So you can't break it up like that. So either you just don't have them all, or you have them all combined. I don't feel that combining them. I feel personally that the ambulance is popular amongst most citizenry as far on face value. I don't think it's popular on the way it's being operated and not having a plan. But I believe that the commercial air service and the ground transportation, while a little bit more controversial, are being handcuffed to the ambulance in hopes that the ambulance will be enough to pull over the finish line. But my contention, and shared with everybody on that committee, was that the best chance for it to pass is to actually have a viable plan or some kind of direction forward to how the ambulance service is going to evolve in Fremont County. From that consensus, I spoke with the mayor, reached out, and my suggestion was forming a standing committee from FCAG, and then FCAG, the purpose of the standing committee would be to create and administer an ambulance service on the plan of porting over the ambulance from Frontier to FCAG under FCAG control with a phase plan of expansion and utilization of different methods of revenue. The biggest thing with an ambulance is that it is a money loser in a lot of cases. It doesn't stand alone by itself, so it requires fiscal support. However, there are models that allow it to be profitable if it's done. So currently, that's why we have life flight insurance here, because Frontier will not transport you from Riverton to Casper. They'll fly you. They won't fly you, but because not everybody needs to be flown. But that's where a large amount of the financial cost to benefit, so to speak, comes from in transportation. And so that's one method. So there's multiple different facets to this plan. I asked for that to be created before I waste my time and the time of a lot of other people around the state to do this, go down this path. And apparently it wasn't something that the powers that be felt was important enough to do. So that's where we're at.
You basically, the plan that Chris is proposing is a plan and a move forward to make things better, move away for the for-profit plan that they're working now. Well, that's what they have to move to where it's gonna be run by the county, FCAG, or another joint powers, an elected group, somewhere where it's not a for-profit organization. And instead of we're trying to make money, they're trying to pay for itself, but not answer stockholders. And to make, the goal would be make it better. With a plan like that, I believe people could support.
And it'd be a hybrid, involving some volunteerism in
Yes.
smaller communities like Shoshoni, Du Bois, to help. I'm not, it's getting late, so I don't want to go into the full plan, but in a nutshell, there is a phased plan approach. Phase one is bringing it continuity of services that are currently there is initial. The tax takes time to go into effect, and then it phases out beyond, or it phases into the other aspects of it. So for lack of a better option, John, I think that my support for it, for whatever that's worth, is I believe the tax needs to be there because everybody wants a service, but they don't want to pay for it. And I'm just going to say this, and I don't care if County 10 quotes me. I am sick and tired of elected officials reminding everybody that there's no state statute that says you have to have an ambulance. That is disgusting rhetoric. We don't have to have a police department. There's no state statute that says we have to have one. So why do we keep going down that? To scare people? To remind people? How about just come up with a plan? How about actually come up with some kind of way to make this work? And actually bring the stakeholders in and have the conversations and do the hard questions and move forward instead of coming up with excuses about why you can't do something. How about we talk about how we can do something? That's where I'm at. I'm tired.
Anyway, thank you, Chris, for that presentation. You could say it much faster and better than I could.
Sorry.
That's why I wanted to bring that out tonight. We're working on it.
I don't really care if it hits the ballot or not, because I don't think it'll pass.
Without a plan, I don't.
As it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, with a plan, even then it might be hard, but at least you have something that you can campaign and talk about. Without a plan,
Yeah, that's the way without a plan, that's why I vote for it.
Can I make a motion to,
I would accept that motion.
okay,
Oh, John, excuse me. No, I'm not. Please.
I don't wanna drag this out, but I've been here for a while too.
Yeah, please talk. Yes, please do.
I apologize ahead of time.
Come up here.
Yeah, come up and that way you're recorded. Yeah. And
Be recorded and he recorded, you should turn it off right after that.
state your name, Mayor.
Still John Meyer.
Okay.
My questions are just because I haven't kept up with this issue. But is the 3/4 cent, is that put out from the county commissioners? Who is proposing that? Is that county commissioners?
no. Well, it's through FCAG, and
The county commissioners are part of that.
but they are part of it. So they voted 3-2 to accept the resolution. So yes, in that front.
Okay. So who is behind the 3/4 and the way they divided that up?
So that was the FCAG got a standing committee for what would be the ballot question. Which I believe is what you said was locked in, and that's what's going forward. And I believe that was through the standing committee on FCAG, right?
Yeah, that was, they looked at the funding that was gonna be needed for the airport and the ambulance and ground transportation. And it came in at the 3/4%.
Okay.
My question is why not half?
I asked for half, or I didn't ask, I suggested half.
Yeah, I did, I also did.
So,
But the numbers they said to support
Okay.
everything they need was 3/4.
I'm sure. when
And
we're
you said
paying for ambulances,
54% of that will go to ambulance?
As far as the current MOA that was drafted, yes. There's another suggestion that well, Riverton and the town administrator there, or city administrator, decided that the airport needed more money than the ambulance, so
Right.
there's it's not, I don't, that's FCAG thing, and that's again, it's an evolving question as far as I'm aware.
Okay,
They have till the end of April to fully,
let's just say 50%. So 3/8 of a percent, right? Is that half of 3/4? How much is that annually?
50% would be about 3.2 million, 3.25
3.3
million.
million.
Yeah.
And currently the ambulance is costing the county one something?
So no, there's a lot more to that story. So the county we're subsidizing Shoshoni, Lander, and well, pretty much Shoshoni, Lander, and to some extent Du Bois is subsidizing the dispatch cost for the ambulance because the county negotiated that they wouldn't spend more than $260,000. So it's piss in one hand, shit. Sorry, let's us. But so they get 1.7 million or whatever subsidy, whatever it is, and then they kick back $260,000 for dispatch fees. When in reality, for their burden on dispatch, it should be closer to 600,000. So we pick up the funding gap. The county was supposed to pick up that funding gap, but instead, the county treasurer decided that he's going to tack on interest and then charges $38,000 per month in interest for the overall running of dispatch center, so the county can make extra money off of what they're supposed to be funding that we're paying for. So it's a huge mess. I would love to talk to you offline about it and
Yeah.
go over it.
Okay, maybe that would be better. It just seems to me that when I dealt with this, when we talked about the half-cent economic development, that some was supposed to go to the airport and some to the,
Yeah, and it's
and
still,
also some came back to the communities, but I don't hear anything about anything coming back to communities.
so this one is very specific in that it's strictly ambulance, commercial air service, and ground transportation through FCAG. So it literally can't be spent on anything else. Economic development, proposals, it's very specific to those three things.
The current there, the commissioner said they're negotiating price right now, and it's 2.2 million. That looks like that's what it's gonna be the next, if they come to agreement.
Okay, so there's still a million plus.
But they also have,
Having to pay for the ambulances to drive to Lander to be serviced and have their tires changed and all the stuff that we currently do.
and they also have some ambulances that are aging out that need replaced.
The company is, the ambulance company.
Right,
And
but
that
what-
falls,
No,
Fremont County taxpayers own the ambulance, they own the barns, they own all the assets.
okay.
Frontier just gets to utilize them and then charge money
And make them.
and then get a subsidy too.
So why don't you buy about 20 semis? Let me drive them and make all the money off them, but you buy them
And
I'll do
and
that.
keep the maintenance
And-
up on them.
Yep.
And there's also about $540,000 that Frontier told the county that they got to have some sort of heart monitors in every ambulance. And when that comes to about $540,000. They need 12 of them.
Well,
And they
let me
get
just finish up
$45,000 each.
here quick, cause I'm getting tired.
I'm just getting my second wind.
Oh,
I was afraid of that.
I didn't mean to.
I've been
stare
here
you,
since
Tammy.
3:30,
Another
so.
one, another one.
when you say the county has no plan going forward, the only plan I ever heard from them was that they wanted to reduce the amount or maybe eliminate the ambulance from Du Bois. Shoshoni was pretty much on their own anyway until you guys decided you were gonna get your own ambulance, and I hope that that's going very well and
So
but I just hope that when they do come up with their plan, that they, if nothing else, keep and maintain the level, and then hopefully increase the level to the outstanding outlying communities in the county, that the county isn't just Lander and Riverton. There is quite a few people out this far. There's quite a few people between Diversion Dam and the top of Togety Pass, and that deserve the same level of coverage. You know, I always said that the ambulance didn't have to go out as often in Du Bois, and that's true. But when it did go out, it wasn't just a fender bender. If somebody fell off a cliff, or somebody got mauled by a grizzly, or somebody, you know, a semi ran into them on Togety Pass, it was a lot of times much larger, bigger, and probably out here, maybe not quite so much, but still there's a lot of things that need to be considered, and you can't just say, well, there's not very many people there, so we're just gonna ignore them. That's what
So-
they did here, why you had to get your own ambulance.
And that's where the lack of a plan comes in. So the plan is in the county, as far as I understand it, is if this tax doesn't go through, it's gonna be reduction in services. By way, I mean, each community is gonna pay the county if they want services. So it's
Yeah.
pay to play kind of, which is where I kind of bowed out. I said, okay, Shoshone's fine. Good luck.
Yeah, it doesn't affect us.
No, but I've always talked about, when I talk about Shoshone, I've always talked about Fremont County. I think I'm one of the only people that when I talk about Shoshone, I also talk about Fremont County. And it's disheartening. And I guess that's where some of the vitriol and the frustration seeps through. And what I say and the harsh words that I have in criticism, it's, you know, you're elected to do a job, do your damn job. Quit worrying about your next election. Do what's right for the people.
Yeah.
You can't do that, get out. That's my opinion, though.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, John. Appreciate it.
Okay, can I make that motion?
Please do.
Make motion. let's
Been,
go.
been moved and second by Councilman Nordine. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye to adjourn this meeting of the Shoshone
Aye.
Aye.
Council. Aye, all in the affirmative, motion passed.